Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Let's talk. It's game day, preseason game number 3, Ravens versus Commanders. And if this was a regular season matchup, we would be hyping it up. We would be talking about it's one of the biggest matchups of this week. We will be talking about Jackson versus Daniels. But this is the preseason. And what we're really talking about is storylines. Storylines all across the league, in fact. There's over 2,500 guys who have been competing for a roster spot. With understanding, some guys are locks already. But the back end of a roster, the last 6 or 7 spots, a lot of times they're up for grabs. And it's that case for the Baltimore Ravens this season. A lot of times when you hear about position battles, you don't really know if it's a real competition because whoever has the tenure on the team typically is the favorite. But this season, it seems like there could be some real change happening in Baltimore. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball, and let's start with the offensive line. When you look across this offensive line, you pretty much know who the 5 starters are going to be. The most controversial is Daniel Falele. And I can admit, I've been rooting for this kid. I've been hoping that his weight loss, his athleticism, his talent would just surface. But on a lot of occasions, he seems to get lost in the shuffle and he seems to get bullied around. Maybe he's just in preseason form, or maybe this is what we're going to see throughout the season. I don't know. But I don't think he'll be unseated going into the season because he's a 19-game starter who did get better. Our hope as a Ravens fan is that he will get better between now and game number 1. But the real position battle is the backups. I don't really know who the 5 backups are going to be, with the exception of Noteboom at tackle and Vincent at tackle. My hope is that we don't have to rely on these guys. The hope is that these 5 starters stay healthy, because I didn't see a lot of great things in Noteboom, didn't see a lot of eliteness in Vincent, but of course he is a 5th round pick, but he does show and has shown the talent to be a viable offensive tackle in the NFL. So when we slide inside, we're looking at the guard position, a position we've been talking about all off season. Is it going to be good enough? Is it going to be the position that cost this Baltimore Ravens a shot at the chip? And we'll have to let 17 games play out and we'll see. But the battle is with Corey Bullock. Our top 7 guys are pretty much locked in. And we've seen Bullock play a couple of different positions, mostly at center, but then also at guard on occasion. He is a guy who has shown well, and to me, he has outperformed up until this point Samac, who was on the team last season. And I think that if Bullock comes out and has a solid showing today, he unseats Nick, and he is the 8th guy on this roster. The other question will be, is it going to be Ben Cleveland? Will Ben Cleveland get that 9th offensive line spot, which is what is projected from John Harbaugh? We don't know. Will there be another guy out of the other 2,500 that gets released in the interior line that will be better suited to serve as a rotational piece on this offensive line? That will be something we see in the future. But right now, I think Bullock has the best shot to unseat Nick Samac and get onto this roster. When you jump to the running back position, the four running back positions are locked in. I think certainly is Henry, Hill, Mitchell, and Ali. I think he makes this roster as the 4th running back. Again, per John Harbaugh. I think the real battle is who is that 5th running back who gets onto the practice squad. Right now, I think it's D'Ernest Johnson, if he's still eligible. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but I know he has ran the ball well for the Baltimore Ravens. I believe if he comes out today, has a solid game, I think he gets that 5th spot and gets onto the practice squad, which does give us a little bit of a safety net. When we look at the tight end position, it's pretty clean, pretty much understood. When we look at the wide receiver position, it's pretty clean. It's pretty much understood. I don't think anybody is challenging Tylan Wallace for that 6th wide receiver spot. And I think that's what the offense really looks like. I think that there's 9 offensive linemen, 2 QBs. I think that Emory Jones goes to the injured reserve. He'll start his season there. It may even be a complete redshirt for season for Emory Jones. We'll have to wait and see. I think that everything else is set. When we jump to the defense side of the ball, This is where the real battles are. There's a battle for positioning at each level of the defense. When you look at the interior defensive lineman, I think CJ Okoye may be the guy who unseats Brent Urban. Now, we understand that Brent Urban has done some handshake deals, under the table type deals, where he and the organization have agreed they're going to cut him, stay put, we're going to come get you. I think that could be the case this season. I think sending Emory Jones, like I mentioned, to the IR opens up a spot, but that fourth running back, I think, takes up that spot. So you have to create some vacancy on the defense. And so I think it's Brent Urban. He gets cut, and they keep CJ Okoye. I think the 5 are going to be Metabike, Travis Jones, Washington, Aeneas Peoples, CJ Okoye. I think those are the 5. And then they bring Brent Urban back after cut downs, after the maneuvering, and looks like they may keep 6. I do not think they're going to release Aeneas Peoples. He's been coming on well over the last game and then some practices. If he shows well today, I think he's locked in as well. I just do not think they're going to risk putting him on the street and thinking he's going to stay available. So I think that's how it's going to look if everything shakes out the way I think it will today. Okoye makes the team. Brent Urban gets cut. They bring Urban back at a later date. When you look at the outside edge rush position, I think with Adisa Isaac's injury, I think that locks in everybody else, right? I don't think that, matter of fact, Adisa Isaac may make it possible to keep Okoye, Peoples, and Urban from the beginning, because I think the 5 edge rush positions that are locked is Odafe Banoy, Mike Green, Tavius Robinson, and David Ajabo. Now, I have seen some articles written up about David Ajabo possibly being traded. I don't think so, and here's why. I don't think David Ajabo gets traded because you're going to need David Ajabo to have a good season, because you're going to lose quite possibly Odafe because of his contract. And so you're going to need a guy who can fill in. Not that David Ajabo and Odafe right now are the same type of player, they're not. But if Ajabo does a good job this season, he's definitely going to come in to next season on a cheaper deal, much, much cheaper than Odafe. And then you can keep rolling and just go back to the draft and kind of restock. That's what I think happens. And so I think those are the 5 edge rushers that make this team. I don't see another edge rusher that's in contention necessarily. And that includes Malik Ham. He's had a good couple of weeks of camp. But I just think based on the other position battles and the pieces we need, I don't think there's going to be a spot for him. Because right now, that would be 5 in the interior minus Brent Urban. That would be 5 on the outside edge rush position. Adisa Isaac going to IR. That's 10 right there. When we jump to the interior, then you're looking at, I think the top 4 is Roquan, Trenton Simpson, Buchanan, and I do believe that Higgins uproots Holcomb. I think that's what happens today. Oh, Hummel, excuse me. His name is Hummel. I think he gets uprooted, and I think Higgins makes his roster. He's done too much, too consistent, too much talent to just ignore. I think he's done enough, more than enough, in fact, to get Jake Hummel off of this team. Not that he's a bad player. I just don't think he makes this team over Higgins. So now we're up to 14 defensively. And then I think when we look at the secondary, I think that the position battle would have been between Bo Braid and Ruben Lowry. I think Lowry has done enough from mini camp to OTAs to training camp to preseason game to earn his way onto the roster. And so whether he slots in at a 5th safety spot or at a 7th cornerback spot, either way, he's on this team. I don't think that he can do anything today that gets him off of this team, but you never know. So I think the secondary looks like this. Corners, Humphrey, Wiggins, Alexander, Awuzie, top 4. TJ Tampa has definitely been coming along. Jalen Armour Davis, Ruben Lowry, that's 7 cornerbacks. When you go to the interior, you got Bo Braid, Sanusi Kane as the backups, Kyle Hamilton, and Malachi Starks. That's 11. Now, depending upon how other positions shake out, right? Whether you get some handshake deals where you're going to bring somebody back on an agreement, I think Keon Martin could make this team also. I think we've just seen too much potential, too much performance to ignore him for making this team. So that's what I think, man. That's the real storylines. This young talent, these guys who are unforeseen coming on strong, and I think they made enough impression. And I think if they impress today, they will get onto this roster. Because I don't think that you can sneak any of those guys onto the practice squad, because people watch what we do as it pertains to picking talent, player development, things of that nature. And if we have guys who are developing and performing, you can absolutely believe it. If those guys have shown talent and the Baltimore Ravens put them on the street, you can best believe that other teams are not leaving them out there. And so Martin, Lowry, Higgins, Okoye, and Bullock, those are the 5 guys to be watching. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM. And until after the game, I'm out.